Ahoj, posloucháte Konopný podcast věnovaný pěstování a dalším zajímavostem ze světa konopí. Já se jmenuji Josef Krejčík a jako mistr Jose publikuju knížky a články na tohle téma už od roku 2010. Přeju vám příjemný poslech. Pleasure to welcome you in Konopný podcast. How are you doing now?
Really good, really good. It's a beautiful day in toward the end of July here in Barcelona, Spain. The weather's been good. I can't complain. It's a little bit humid, but it's really another beautiful day.
Yeah, great. I really like Barcelona. I always looking forward to visit Spanavis and to spend few days in there because it's the beginning of spring. And in Czech Republic, usually at the time, it's cold weather. So Spanavis is always something like to taste a bit of summer or early spring. So I really like Barcelona.
Yeah.
Jorge, you are a legend in cannabis branch, and I'm sure you are well known from Czech growers too, especially for your legendary indoor marijuana horticulture book. Can you tell me briefly your story? Where did you first got in touch with cannabis and how did it happen that you became a book author?
Yeah, sure. Well, right at first, that goes way back to like high school. They call it secundaria here in Spain, high school. What happened is in the United States, they had the war on drugs. And it was huge. It was really a big thing. And so we really didn't know anything about any kind of drugs other than what we were told, because I grew up in a small town, Ontario, Oregon. So, gosh, the whole world was telling us how horrible cannabis is, how, marijuana, they called it, how horrible it is, and how if you smoke marijuana, you'll turn into like a crazy lunatic, and then 3 days later you start putting heroin in your arm, and then a week later you go on a mass murdering spree. Yeah, that's what we were taught. I thought, well, that's kind of weird. And so first thing you always you want to do is try it, try cannabis. Like, well, is that true or not? And so you don't know. I mean, that is the first thing people want to do. So that's what we did. And there was 4 of us. We got one of my dad's pipes and drove around in the car and smoked an ounce of Mexican dirt weed. We call it Mexican dirt weed because the Mexicans are real smart. They only send the dirt weed up. And dirt weed is like, just, it just smells and tastes like dirt,
So they keep the nice weed for themselves and send the dirty weed to US.
Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of smart Mexicans. And so anyway, yeah, we tried it and it was just wonderful. I thought, oh, these, and then I thought everybody was lying, the authorities, my parents, the teachers, the cops, the politicians. And so I didn't really trust them after that, because none of those terrible things happened to me. And it was a good experience. And so and then some years later, like almost 10 years later, 7 years later, yeah. Indoor growing got to be really big in the United States, or it just started. And I was living in the Northwest in Portland, Oregon. And so there was indoor growing going on there. And so that's when I wrote about it. I wrote this here. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty basic.
Is the first one? This one is the first one? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, 1983. There.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, it's really basic.
Yeah. But at the time, there were no books about this topic. Am I right?
Well, yeah, there was a couple, but they weren't very good. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they just weren't, and especially about indoor growing.
Yeah,
And so I got lucky in that way because, well, it was the first book that was was honest and straightforward and
yeah,
simple,
yeah, yeah,
and that's all I did was just tell the truth.
yeah,
And
yeah.
a lot of
But
people,
at
not
the
that
time
they
it was
were honest,
it
but yeah.
it was not easy to be so honest, like
No.
at that time, you know. So
Oh no.
you took a big risk to write about it.
Yeah.
Am I
Where?
right?
Yeah. Here. Oh, I got one here. Okay. Yeah. Look, see, this is me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I remember this book,
This
you know.
is,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is, I had to wear a disguise for years. For years.
uh-huh.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would be in big trouble. Big
Mm-hmm.
trouble. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I didn't have the disguise.
And how did you sell books at that time? Because you have to hide your face, you know. So it was
Yeah.
also harder
Uh,
to sell it in shops, wasn't it? Or
yeah, it was really difficult. It was really difficult because we didn't have the internet back then.
yeah, yeah.
We just had bookstores, head shops, and indoor grow stores. We didn't have either. I should have
Mm-hmm.
those, but I also did a bunch of straight books. I mean, most people, you can go to my website, marijuana, or no, let's see, uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jorge-Cervantes.com, and you
Yeah.
can see all of the books I've written. Okay, here's
Mm-hmm.
one. Here's one.
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, we couldn't sell marijuana books at the hydroponic stores.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Illegal. Well, nobody would sell them because that meant you were going to make a criminal event or a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
criminal enterprise, they said.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, so I wrote a straight book
Mm-hmm.
for that market, and then a marijuana book like this one for the cannabis market.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Yeah,
But
clever.
it was really difficult because it's like the fucking cops hated me. I was on like these watch lists and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a big file like that, and
Mm.
you know, it's just kind of like a pain.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now it's nothing like it used to be. It's a lot better than before. Before it was really scary for a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And
but now it's knock on wood. It's not nearly as bad. It's a
yeah.
lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I have to say to listeners that all the links mentioned in this podcast will be available on my website. There will be article connected to this chapter of podcast, so you will find all information there, also including links to Jorge's site, where you can really see all books he written and published, and also with interesting information on it, and also uh, important important milestones, what happened in the US, and with books in different countries, for example, how it was banned in Australia, and other interesting
Yeah.
things, because yeah, it's uh, we have to say, Jorge, that you are like a old school guy. You were at the beginning of marijuana started, or cannabis started to be popular, you know, and grown indoor, you know. So for us, it's very interesting to talk to people like you and hear the stories, how it begins, you know, because you know I'm slightly above 40, you know, and for me it's like when I started to grow, it was for example in Holland, it was very developed market at the time, you know, and I
Right.
remember beginnings of this market in Czech Republic. So
Yeah.
for us and for younger people, it's very important from my point of view to remember or to hear how it begin. May I ask you how many books?
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
here's
Okay.
mine. This is a Dutch book.
Okay.
It's the
Okay.
first good cannabis book they had. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's yeah, they love me. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know if they love me or not, but at least I get
Uh-huh.
respect. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but I got a lot of good Dutch friends. Yeah, yeah. But this
Yeah.
is the first one. It was still
Uh-huh.
selling guilders. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What was the price in guldens?
300. Oh no, francs. Franco florines. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
32
Uh-huh.
32.50. And
Guldens,
that was
maybe.
yeah florines. And it was
And
19,
it
1988.
1988. So it
That's
was
when
cheaper.
this edition came out. Yeah,
It
19.
was cheaper than grass.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, exactly.
because I remember like a nice packet was 425. That's what I remember.
Okay, there you go. Well, look, this one here, it's like in the seventh printing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
eighth printing, yeah. No, it
Mm-hmm.
was a
Mm-hmm.
bestseller. Everybody was really happy. It was
Yeah,
for
I
about
can
5 years.
imagine.
It was like it was important book there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool, cool.
Yeah,
I see that it
1988.
was published in 1988, what I see. Yeah. Uh,
That's a long time ago,
exactly. I was 11 at that time, man.
huh?
uh,
Yeah,
so how many titles in total are available now in
50.
how?
Well, I don't know if they're not everything's available because there's
Okay.
newer editions, but altogether I've written about 50 books. Uh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, or more than 50 actually, and some
Mm-hmm.
and videos too. I did videos with High Time, but you
Mm-hmm.
can see pretty much all the videos on YouTube. I
Mm-hmm.
have a YouTube channel too. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then where else?
Mm-hmm. How
Then
many?
Amazon. Amazon has all my
Yeah,
books, and they're
yeah.
all, I've got them in like 7 languages, 8 languages, maybe they're still in.
Mm-hmm. I think it's eight different
Yeah,
languages, what I know.
yeah, because
Uh,
they're in the larger, but it's not in quite a few languages. Your
mm-hmm.
Czech, it's not in. uh
Mm-hmm.
like German, French, Italian, the big five.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But what I'm doing right now actually is I'm making a free book
Okay.
and putting it online, and
Mm-hmm.
the free one, and then I think I'm going to do a subscription one after that too. All of that will go online, but I'll be able to translate those real easily.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I can put the income, the money, because before, see, you have to get all the paper, you have to buy the paper, you have to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it goes to China and then back,
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff. And then, yeah, like for Europe, hell, you have to have a warehouse. And well, we've got a warehouse here,
Mm-hmm.
but, to ship it to the Czech Republic is like really difficult. you know,
I know I'm
it's
shipping some
expensive.
books to Spain, so I
Yeah,
know how
yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's not easy.
No, that's why it's a big change to make it to
Mm.
go from paper to digital,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm.
it's really the only way to do it. It
Yeah,
lowers
yeah.
your expenses everywhere, and you can pass that on too. But it's
Mm-hmm.
just everything's different.
Yeah,
And
yeah, everything. Life is changing. The world is changing. People are changing. We cannot stop it, of course.
no,
For me, like paper book, like paperback is good when you can. It's easy to search through.
oh,
It's
yeah,
nice to have it in our hands. But on the other hand, yeah, online or electronic book, you are you have it in your phone, so it's
Yeah,
really
I
easy.
mean, yeah, yeah. See, I mean, which way? I mean, this it has a whole library, or this is one book.
Exactly. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's that simple.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wish
That's
it were
right.
different. I could complain, but this is what's happening, and
Yeah, yeah, that's
if
right. That's
nothing
right.
else, get used to it. That's it.
That's that's right. And also, paper is becoming very expensive during the last time or last year.
Oh, yeah.
The prices raised a lot.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's also I'm solving this issue that printing is more and more expensive, and you have to
yeah,
have some warehouse, as you said. Luckily, I
yeah.
have a big house, so I have also a place where I can keep my books for free. But anyway, it's a difficult task. That's
Much
right.
more difficult than I'd like
Yeah,
to deal
yeah.
with.
Let's get back to growing stuff. I'm sure you have lots of requests from and questions from growers regarding troubleshooting. Can you tell me what is the most common question and what is your answers, or if you
No,
can say
okay.
it easily?
It's funny. I used to get it's because I used to answer questions for a lot of years, and now I don't answer as many. I still see them, but what I'm seeing overall is the questions are more sophisticated,
Mm-hmm.
a lot
Mm-hmm.
more sophisticated. But when it comes down to it, there's a lot of there. I mean, some questions are just bad, but overall, the questions are, like I say, more sophisticated, but they have to do with really basic stuff usually still. Water is a big concern. I mean, it's real
Mm-hmm.
simple. Watering, especially if you water with a lot of plants. But overwatering is probably the biggest concern that there is. And once you overwater, you can't take it back. It takes
That's right.
like a few days.
That's
Uh,
right.
and I see this all the time where people want to do something nice for their plants, so they give it more water. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
your mother giving you more food, so
Mm-hmm.
she feels better, but you don't.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's what happens. And then, so yeah, there's that, and then not actually testing the water. I mean, testing the soil or substrate for, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a water meter is really cheap, and the way water is measured, the
Mm-hmm.
conductive factor is, it's really simple and really inexpensive. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why the meters are so cheap, and they're pretty darned accurate. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they can measure right at a specific point in the soil. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the biggest one. And then other stuff I mean, I used to get them all the time, because if you grow indoors, usually right at 2 months, usually people have problems, because that's when they're not paying attention as much. It's kind of like the novelty wears off, and they've over fertilized, they've overwatered the plants by,
Mm-hmm.
and the temperatures bounced up and down a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is that's when the insects and pests and diseases move in. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's a big time to check. But like I
Mm-hmm.
say, overall it's water. And then another thing that can happen too, it depends on where you're at. But this was really big for a few years, it still is the russet mite. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
those, they call them like micro mites here, microácaros here in Spain. But those things were a real problem, and until they were diagnosed, nobody knew what they had.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a big issue anymore, because people know what it is.
Yeah.
There used to be just a few products. I don't know how the products are now, because
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, I was in America, in Oregon, 6 years ago and hanging out with Paul Stanford, who grows a lot there, and they didn't know what it was, and nobody seemed to know in the area either. We'd already had it here because I already knew what it was from Spain, see, because we got it before them, because the Microácaros, they come from the grapes.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd think they come from hops, but they don't. They come from the grape fields. Yeah.
Okay. Can you please type down the name of this beetle, or
Oh yeah, the
if you can
Microácaros.
see down, there is a chat on a Zoom. If you type
Yeah,
it in
let's
chat,
see. I
or
gotta just look it up. I don't
because it
remember.
will be easier
Oh,
to find the Czech translation
well,
for that, you know.
well, yeah. There's a hemp russet mite,
Uh-huh.
and then there's the cyclamen mite, and then that CYC. That's not as common. And then where's all these mites? And then there's one other I forget. Always forget that one.
Hemp mite. I see it. I see it. Yeah.
Hemp russet
No
mite. Yeah.
problem. Hemp mite. I found
I've
it.
got photos of all this stuff. I just forget
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I see. I see. So we
Okay,
don't have to
cool.
look for it. I see it already.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
broad mite. That's the other one, the broad mite.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
they're all in the same family. They act very much the same. And there's a couple of products that work really well to kill them. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but the big thing is to get to understand what they are and understand early,
Yeah.
because it's easy to get confused with a nutrient
Yeah.
deficiency or
Yeah.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
damn little thing, they're so little. They're just really little.
Mm-hmm. 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 You know, we talk about it before we started, or on by emails, that you don't like easy questions. I can agree with that, because you know, if somebody asks you, should I water, or why are my plants getting yellow, and they send you pictures which are hardly to recognize what plant is in there, you know, it's really hard to answer these questions. And I have to say that, like, is the most common questions. I also like more sophisticated questions, and people already know so what they do, and they have opinions on something, and they easily
Yeah.
want to know your opinion, because you know, there are many ways how to reach the same target, you know, and everybody has his own habitats in some things, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so it's good to share, or good to talk, good to discuss on some topics, you know, how you do it, how someone else is doing it, you know, and it doesn't mean that only your way is the only good way, you know, because somebody, you know, you know that lots of growers has a very nice wheat and very nice results, you know, and they follow different ways how to get there, you know. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
interesting to know how somebody else is doing it, you know. So it's good to discuss. Yeah. So I have to say that the most common question for me is also regarding watering and yellowing plants. But most often I think that plants are yellow because there is too much water.
Yeah, usually it is. And
Yeah.
that's the base of a lot of problems that starts. It could it
Mm-hmm.
it could bring on diseases and pests.
Yeah. Yeah.
Later on, after the plant gets weak, the leaves can
Mm-hmm.
fall off.
Mm-hmm.
There's the plant just grows more slowly overall because there's
Mm-hmm.
less oxygen, or less air in the soil, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, there's one problem after another, and the nutrient
Yeah.
uptake is not as good. And
Uh,
and then if it gets cold,
and fungus gnats has a great place for living, so they eat more roots, you know. So yeah,
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 Yeah, yeah, it's really easy. There's a couple of ways to get over on it, of course, to have a good growing medium that drains really well.
Yeah.
That's that's the big thing with cocoa. The cocoa core and perlite, about a
Mm-hmm.
20 to 30% mix of that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that works really well because I mean, there's no water. I mean, there's always air in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's it can be full of water and
Mm-hmm.
still have enough
Mm.
air for good growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that works really well, and you can really load that stuff up and push that really hard. Push
Mm.
meaning you can
Mm.
put a heavy fertilizer load on it.
But regarding cocoa coir and perlite, we find out in trials we made in Botanical Institute that the microorganisms are not that the cocoa is not the best soil or best medium for microorganisms. You know that
No, not at all.
they don't like it. Yeah. So I prefer to use like a nice soil or fully hydroponic systems. You know, it's the way I like it the most. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like you say, there's so many ways to grow.
yeah, exactly. So yeah. Uh,
Well, it's funny that
yeah.
yeah.
As a grower, I wanted to ask you if you prefer like indica or sativa strains, or simple. You can ask if you like fast flowering short plants or higher plants with longer
Yeah,
flowering period and a little bit different um
it,
result. You know.
it kind of depends. It kind of depends. I'm not able to grow now, darn it, because I'm traveling so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
After COVID, I'm started traveling again. But yeah, I mean, if I've got a good climate and enough time, I would grow the biggest, baddest sativas that I could find because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love them. They're great, and there's nothing like growing big plants. Big plants are just cool. I like
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They are here where I'm at, it gets really hot where I'm at, but whatever the climate, whatever you can grow, I would grow that because
Mm-hmm.
they're fun. Um,
Yeah.
and the auto flowering plants, they're pretty interesting. I'm learning a bit more about those, but I really do rely on other people so much because, well, like I said, this next week I'll go to United States and I'll
Okay.
stay there for 2 months, and I'll be predominantly, well, I'll be like on the West Coast,
Mm-hmm.
West Coast US. And then after that, later, a few months later, I'll go to Thailand
Mm-hmm.
because Thailand, well, I've got good friends over there, Spanish friends,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and well, from several countries actually. But they legalize cannabis. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's right.
and so I think maybe I'll do a book in Thai. That would
Mm-hmm.
be really
Cool,
nice.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people that live there, when you look at the geography, it's like the best, very well located for Asia,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like the
yeah, that's
Amsterdam of
right.
the South.
Yeah. I remember when I was in Thailand, it's a long time ago, and I've been there only once for a holiday, and I remember that weed was only with branches, like packed in newspapers, you know.
Right,
So
exactly, exactly. Right. Yeah, right.
time to
Yeah.
time there were seeds inside. You know, it was not like a high quality, but it was tasty. But you know, it was completely illegal. You know, so you can get in real troubles when you
Yeah, yeah.
were busted by cops. And you know, cops in Asia, they don't they have a wooden sticks, you know, to beat you. So
Yeah, I know they hurt. They hit you with those things.
this is something you really don't want to happen to you, know?
No, 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 no. If you have a language problem, they do
Yeah,
not have a problem. They have a stick.
exactly.
This will
And
teach you.
they have stick, you
Oh
don't have
man.
any stick, you know?
I know. I have no they have a stick. Oh, thanks, man. And it's like, no, 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 no. I know that guy with the stick. He's not very nice.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Like,
You know, when we talk about Asia, about Thailand, you know, I have to start. I have to ask you for Sinsamias, because I think you remember when it appears in growers community, because I was not alive at the time, I think. I remember when feminization process was stabilized, and when it was popularized by Dutch passion.
yeah.
And but how it worked, how it was in business in some years. I think when you started to grow, there were already plants without
No,
seeds, or
nobody really understood a lot of that stuff back then.
uh-huh,
They really
uh-huh.
didn't. Even marijuana botany, they weren't sure how to distinguish a male and female plant.
Okay.
It was yeah, and then there was a book called Sinsemilla, and it
Mm-hmm.
seemed to be magic, but somebody figured out to remove the male plant.
Yeah. It's
Not,
easy to yeah.
yeah, it's
In
not.
the end.
Well, yeah, but see, here's the problem. It's like in Mexico and well, a lot of countries are really macho, like chauvinist and stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
So getting them to remove the male plants is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's the
Yeah.
male plant, guys. You gotta have the male. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
I'm serious. That's the main reason, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So nobody wanted to do that. And then they started doing it. But I remember it first coming out of Mexico because in the early 70s, in the early to mid 70s, mid
Mm-hmm.
70s better. It could
Mm-hmm.
have been in a few small places, but this is just what I remember personally. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but boy, it just because we always had seeded cannabis, always.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the Sinsemilla, it was you'd never see it outside of Mexico because I
Mm-hmm.
went to university there in the 70s, and we would get it pretty or sometimes, not always, and it was always the best, the Sinsemilla. And but
Mm-hmm.
back then everybody looked at it like Sinsemilla was like a varieties name or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Nobody,
yeah.
that's what it was, good dope and bad dope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But when you look at it, the feminized seeds, I think the first time that happened with cannabis was also in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
70s, and I think it was some Indian guy in India.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that, feminized seeds, that's different, but that's just basically a seedless plant, see, and
Mm-hmm.
that's been really big since the 1950s, or yeah, because that's when they came up with like seedless watermelon and
Yeah, yeah.
seedless cucumbers.
Mm-hmm.
They did the melon and then other seedless stuff.
Yeah, there are several vegetable and fruit you can get without seeds, of course,
Yeah.
or with seeds which are not sprouting. You know, it's also
Exactly, exactly. So it's really common agricultural processes,
yeah. You're right.
and it's just started with cannabis because all of the studying. You look at how much corn has been studied, or wheat, uh,
Mm-hmm.
or bananas. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man. I mean, just a heck of a lot of. They've all been studied, or soybeans, soya, and cannabis is should be studied that much because it's also could be agricultural crop for animal feed, like
Mm-hmm.
alfalfa. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's lower water consumption, way lower,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got all kinds of really good qualities, but the laws are not in place to be able to use it as an animal feed,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to build the infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's all kinds of other uses as well.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, you mentioned already autoflowering strains. What do you think about it? Do you like it, or
Yeah,
I really like it for outdoors. I really love it because it's like great for place where I live, like that you always reach and you don't have to wait when autumn will come. You know, it's finished quite soon, and you can have enough sun and good temperature for them when you grow them.
well,
For
yeah.
indoors, I prefer photos, but I understand that it's very easy to grow. You know, so what is your opinion?
Well, the big thing is it's how expensive they are to grow because see with the autoflower plant you can give it like 20 hours of light and it flowers no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out if you want to buy a light and give it 20 hours of light, it's you don't need to give it as bright a light as you would if you had like only 12 hours to
Mm-hmm.
apply. So the light is less expensive, and many times the electric rate is less expensive.
Mm-hmm.
One light can either light more plants or it just costs less. So in that way, it's really a good deal because you can buy a cheaper light and you can use less electricity over,
Mm-hmm.
or well, lower level of electricity over time. It's not overall less electricity. Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that way it's really pretty cool because I didn't understand what the heck anybody'd want to grow indoors autoflower, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that's really a good reason because it
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't take as much light because we
Mm-hmm.
know exactly how much light it takes to grow cannabis indoors in
Mm-hmm.
several couple of different scales. Um, let's see. Oh, what is it? Millimoles per watts
Mm-hmm.
per square meter per second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but what happens is you can so we know that figure, the amount of intense light, but it's how this amount of light you get during 24 hours. That's the
Mm-hmm. Daylight
light
integral,
and the integral. Yeah, that's really
Uh-huh.
important
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it's a fixed number. So it say you want to fill this up, well, it still takes the same 75 centiliters to fill this up,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but you can do it either really fast or really slow. It doesn't matter as long as it
Mm-hmm.
fills up in 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
the deal with the light. So you can
yeah.
just
Uh-huh.
fill it up really slowly with the
Uh-huh.
in 20 hours.
It's a very interesting point of view,
Yeah.
I never think about it this way, but because from my point of view, it was always a little bit more expensive to grow out-of-flowering strains. If you simply calculate the electricity consumption, and if you take in consider that some people are not using as strong light as they should, even for
Yeah.
photos, easily if I say that if somebody is using, let's talk about classic HPS lamps. So if somebody is
Mhm.
using 400 watts per square meter, uh, you know you think that if you grow out of flowering, you can use like lower wattage? Like I don't think so. If you use 400 watts per square meters, in my point of view, it's I prefer 600. You know, like you have lots of
Yeah.
lights, and actually I grow mostly with LEDs now. You know, so it's but but you are right that if we calculate the daylight integral and compare it with micromoles,
Yeah.
and we calculate that we use 20, we have a 20 hours day long day, that we don't need so strong light. Yeah. I will
Yeah.
look at it and recalculate it. But you are right. Maybe it will be at least even the same consumption and easier
Yeah.
growing. You know. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting idea. I really didn't think about it before. It's
Well,
very
yeah,
interesting.
you don't think about it, but it's just one of the variables, and you don't have too
Mm-hmm.
many variables, so all you have to do is just change one of them, and it
Mm-hmm.
affects the others. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it seemed like a pretty straightforward. And I mean, this thing, I mean, we're just learning about the spectrum and the photons. These were
Yeah.
words that weren't in our vocabulary a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I
It's
mean, they
right.
were
It's
been
right.
in the vocabulary, but not, we didn't discuss them in cannabis usually.
That's right. That's right. You are right. You
Yeah.
know, for me, is very interesting time to time that something what is normal in normal horticulture is like sometimes it became to cannabis community, and it's like something very new invention, but they use it for cucumbers or tomatoes like 40 years already, you know.
Right, right. That's true, huh?
Yeah,
That's
it's
well, the
funny.
greenhouses that darken out the sky, those,
Mm-hmm.
they were using those, but it was usually, well, usually for like almost always, they would use the blanket to put over the top.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Mm-hmm.
to hold the heat in at night.
Yeah, yeah,
But then you can also use it to black out the sky too.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. What else? Like covering seeds with fungicide or color coding them.
Mm-hmm.
That's been
Mm-hmm.
around forever, and that was a big marketing ploy for a while.
Mm-hmm. Cool,
God, yeah,
cool.
yeah. But
Interesting.
you see it always, but it's gonna always come out just like the regular agricultural world.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
use it as a barometer.
It's it's interesting. I would like to suggest listeners who are really interesting to cannabis growing to and who is visiting regular cannabis fairs to visit sometimes some regular horticulture fair, because if once you visit it, you will see that there is lots of stuff which are not using for cannabis growing yet, you know,
Yeah.
and they are very useful, you know. So if you have a chance to visit some fairs focused on horticulture, do that, especially for greenhouses, something in Holland, you know. So it's like a really good experience for everybody to go there. I think you can confirm.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because we had before, it used to be NTV, but now it's called Green Tech. Green Tech,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all over the world too. It was at the RAI this year in Amsterdam. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the biggest agricultural fair in the world, they say. Mainly
Mm-hmm.
greenhouses, for mainly about greenhouse. But we even have for now 3 years our own place for cannabis there.
Mm-hmm.
And before, yeah, that was my favorite fair of all times, because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if you want to know anything about agriculture, you go there and they're like ahead of
Yeah.
everybody.
It's
You know.
taking place in June or May
Yeah,
or
it was just, yeah, last month. Last month.
yeah.
Uh,
June. Mm-hmm.
yeah. What's it called? Green Tech.
Green Tech, yeah, in Amsterdam
And
or in Holland.
it's also in Paris. It's in several other world capital cities too.
Yeah. So listeners can find it, and the link to everything we are talking about will be available on my website, and you will find easily an article connected to this chapter of podcast. So it will be easy to find for everyone. Jorge, I have to ask one thing. This is not easy to answer, but I would like to know who is the most inspiring person you met in cannabis business, or with somebody. Can you say a few names or?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, over time, and because things change, you get influenced over time. And not always really famous people, mainly it's a lot of small growers and people that you never hear about. It's great to say, I know somebody famous, but who gives a fuck? I mean, it's who inspires you, and it's like the guys that are growing, that don't have another way out to have any cannabis, or there's somebody they're growing for a patient. Yeah, I mean, to me, I got really fortunate in as much as I was in the right place at the right time and continued to do the same thing. For a lot of years, I think it was kind of, I don't know why in the hell I do the same thing when just a lot of years things didn't work very well. But, there's all kinds of people that I've helped and I was able to inspire. And it's those guys that really, well, they really make the difference to me,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to say, oh, I'm, like big and smart, but it's like, I mean, we're all in this together, right? So, so you got to help everybody, or everybody got to help everybody. And because there's, well, here in this, I don't know, for some reason, it seems like there's a lot of ego, really big egos. But
Okay.
so that never really worked for me. So that's who's probably been the most inspiring, are the people that, that I've helped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I expected that you will say some famous names, because I know
Right.
you know lots of people, but I very appreciate your answer, because yeah, that's right. In the end, like famous people are famous and lots of people are know them, but there are
Yeah, so what?
heroes which are hidden, yeah, and nobody knows them, and they do something what is much more important for
Oh
someone
yeah.
else, because if you help one person, it's better than if you make lots of money and don't help anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And make you
So,
happy,
but honestly, I what I like on our society, like connected to cannabis, is that yeah, sometimes there are competitors, of course, because it's business like any other businesses. But yeah, I anyway, I feel it as a some kind of family, when you visiting all the trade shows and meet all the people again and again. It's like it's always nice to feel that you are part of something, because for most of people you are a drug dealer, you are like a junkie, and you work in something what is
right.
what ruining life of young people and ruining
Right.
families. So it's
Because it's
always
all
nice
your
to
fault.
yeah, exactly. You do what you do the best, and you trust what they are doing.
Yeah.
Like none of us are like someone who want to give drugs to children.
No.
No, it's a bad thing. If we talk about tobacco, alcohol, cannabis, whatever, it's not for children, but
No.
when you are adult and you are a normal guy, you know, so it's up to you what are you decide to do, you know. So it's like,
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, it's so weird because what was the government, you know, if I owe tax money, or well, yeah, there's money owed. I owe it to the government, and it's me that owes it. You know, they
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
make the tax mistake. I made
yeah.
it, according to them, always. But if they find drugs in my house, they're always mine. They don't
Yeah,
belong
yeah,
to somebody else. Well, why is it backwards? I don't understand.
yeah.
You
That's how it
know,
is. Yeah,
but the good thing is we're growing more cannabis and it's happening worldwide.
yeah.
And
That's right. That's right.
that's really a good thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it goes the right way now. So
yeah.
hopefully it will continue this way. When I ask you for inspiring people you met, I have to ask one thing. What is the most important thing cannabis brought to your life? Because
Well,
you are in this field like 40 years, right? Or something like it, you know?
yeah. Boy, let's see. I thought about this stuff. Oh, okay. Memorable. Oh, let's see. Okay, okay, I gotta look at this for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, I got most memorable moment. That was most memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I talked about my hometown and
Mm-hmm.
how people were saying that cannabis was bad and they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were talking about, either because they were stupid or because they did know better and they just were lying, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
the way it was, what the hell's going on here? So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really believe those guys, and I learned how to look into stuff myself,
Mm-hmm.
not just go along with everybody else. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I did. I decided to grow cannabis and but to teach everybody to grow because it
Mm-hmm.
seemed like my skills were necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's good, good, good. Uh, and what is the most memorable moment of your rich career? Is there something
Yeah, the
you?
memorable one, that one's a one like you probably wouldn't think, you'd think something else, but for me, do I even have this? No, it doesn't have the sticker. But when I published this book, the encyclopedia,
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I've had see, I've been fighting with the established book world for many years
Mm-hmm.
because I've been fortunate to be real successful. And it kind of pisses a lot of those guys off because I've been more successful than them. Well, people buy my stuff. That's why I'm successful. So maybe they should, think about that. Why people buy my stuff and not theirs. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so what's happened with the straight books and everything? They told me that I'm a criminal and all this stuff, and then I keep entering contests, like
Mm-hmm.
book contests in the book
Okay.
world, in the straight book world. So finally, for this book here, I won
Okay.
I won the Benjamin Franklin Award, like first place award for
Okay.
this. Yeah, yeah, and it was a
Cool.
good thing because it's the first time a cannabis book has ever won an award in the book business.
Okay. Cool.
We win them all the time in the cannabis world, but that's just us patting each other on the back. And you know what I want to do is be big everywhere.
Uh-huh.
In the real
Uh-huh.
world, be accepted, and that
Yeah.
getting that
Yeah.
award, that was a big deal. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I came all the way to America to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in which year? Which year you won it? Do you remember?
God, I don't know. That
215
was
or
about like 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
215, 216, something like
Yeah,
that. Okay,
16,
cool.
2016. Yeah,
Co-
it's
Cool, cool.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So that
great
was a
to
big
that you
one.
see that you have been accepted by like a regular world, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a big thing because
yeah,
I haven't been
that's
there
right.
in my life.
That's right.
Yeah.
Uh, you have been back to US to pick up to get an award. It's great, and I have to ask you because it's for mostly for Czech listeners. Have you ever been to Czech Republic as well?
No, I haven't. And I know there's a great fair over there at Praga,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's one of the places I gotta go. I just haven't been there, is all. Uh,
Uh-huh.
we live here, and it's like 2 hour, less than 2 hours on the airplane.
Yeah, it's more than 2 hours, but anyway,
Oh, it
it's
is.
there is a direct flight from Barcelona to Prague. It's very easy to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And it's an easy city to get around in, to walk
Mm-hmm.
around in, and there's a
Yeah.
huge cannabis movement there too. I
You
know.
definitely have to come, and you are more than welcome here. Once you decide to go there, just let me know, and I will surely help you organize program in there.
Oh yeah,
So
that'd be great.
So it will be great, and it will be also great to meet you in person again, and
Yeah, yeah.
maybe we can have a chat again and make some content for Czech growers as well.
Sure,
So it will be
sure.
very helpful. Yeah, Canfest is really nice, nice event in Czech. So it's in November. I know people from
Yeah.
Barcelona who used to go there. They always say, "Oh, it's cold here," because sometimes it can start snow at November in Czech. It's normal, so you
Oh
can
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there could
All
be
right, though.
temperature close to zero already. So it's good to have a jacket with you. So
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about
yeah,
it,
definitely. I don't have
or you
any.
can come in the summer or late
Maybe in the
spring
summer. Summer would be
if you want
better
to.
because it gets
Yeah,
hot here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be good to come in the summer
It's
because
better. It's better weather here in the
yeah,
summer
yeah, it's not like
because it's
30.
not 40 degrees are not very common in Czech
Oh,
so far.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you never know. Weather is changing, so if you will postpone your visit, maybe you come here and it will be 45 already.
Yeah, it's been pretty warm in a lot of
Yeah,
places in
yeah.
Europe. Wow.
Last time we met in Barcelona, you told me that
Yeah,
you are preparing some Czech edition of book. You already mentioned it, so it will be ebook. It will be for
yeah,
free. Am
yeah.
I right?
It'll be, well, I'm not doing translation yet. It'll
Okay,
be this ebook. Yeah, it's about 150 pages,
okay.
and it's really easy to translate, or it costs a lot less to translate now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because see, that's my only expense. That's the
Mm-hmm.
good thing with the ebook, because there's
Mm-hmm.
no paper, there's no warehouse, there's
Mm-hmm.
and you can sell it like straight out of your office.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can
That's
also
right.
put it on Amazon, but you can put
Mm-hmm.
you can do that too in your local market. You've got a good
Mm-hmm.
you because you know everybody. You could do that for advertising, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Sell advertising on your digital book,
Mm-hmm.
because Amazon won't let you do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's the deal, because it's well, I don't have very much money. I don't have to make very much back after
Mm-hmm.
translating.
Yeah, yeah, I understand how it works. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm also,
translating the actual translating is just a small amount of
yeah.
the expense.
In the end, if you calculate all the expenses, it's not so much. Yeah, it's always important to have a proper translation, of course. because I remember when I published first time my indoor book in German, the translation was not the best one, and I heard it from people. So the second edition was already was translated again, and I'm always take a big care about translation quality before I publish something again. So okay, we can wait check ebook in upcoming year maybe, or everything will
I
be.
don't know what the translation, because it's not really hard to manage all of this. I just got to have the income to do it, make sure that it goes to the right, that it works.
Yeah, I understand. We can talk about it afterwards. Also, I can help you maybe with this stuff because I know good translation company focused on cannabis
Oh,
content in Czech.
really? Okay. That's good
So
to know.
yeah,
So it turns out I've got another meeting now. I'm just figuring
okay, okay, Jorge.
it like that.
I think I already asked everything I wanted to ask. Of course, we can talk together about growing like for another hour, and we will still have enough topics. But your schedule is tight, and I'm very happy that you were open to do this interview with me and to talk to Czech growers and listeners to Konopný podcast. And I'm sure it is not the last time we are in touch,
Yeah,
and I hope we will find another time to continue in our speech. And if you come to Czech, really, as I said, you are always welcome.
yeah,
Just let me know, and we will organize something.
yeah. I
Uh,
will.
yeah.
No, that sounds like fun. Maybe in the
We,
like the summertime, next summertime.
Yeah, we can do also some online event for
Oh,
for
that's
my
even.
listeners and
Yeah,
growers so that they can ask you something. I will translate it and we can
yeah. Sure,
we can have
sure.
a chat. It will be
That's
interesting. Okay,
sure.
Jorge. Thank
Okay,
you one more
sounds good.
time that you attend Konopný podcast, and I wish you a nice day.
Oh, thank
And
you. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here. Thank you, and I
yeah,
wish the same for you.
okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Have a nice
Okay,
day.
thank you so much. Okay,
Bye
ciao.
bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao.